All right, here we go. It's Christmas. We're going to hit some grippers. We're going to hit some squats. We might even throw some push-ups. We're just going to get after it because why not? We already hosted a heck of a holiday. Everybody here had fun. And now I want to have a little fun on my own, working on my grippers and doing some calibrating. So let me get my equipment ready. This is a hand gripper. What we're trying to find out using this machine is how strong is this hand gripper? When I plug it in here and I start cranking, how much pounds pressure will it take to touch these two handles? Because once we do that, we know how strong someone's hand is. Or if we can't close it, how strong it isn't. So we do a couple things. We pick our hand grippers. Tonight, we're using the Captains of Crush Iron Mind model 2.5. So we slide it in the red sleeve. I always slide it right into this band. There it is. I don't want any knurling showing. I want the top of that band. Then I need to get this cuff on this side. And I put it right where the knurling ends there as well. And then I begin to reel it in, just like this. Couple things are happening right now. As I reel this far end, this threaded screw is pulling on the scale. This scale has cables attached to the cuff. So as it goes this way, it's putting pressure on those cables and on the handle. And right now it's 45 pounds of pressure being applied to these. And I'm reeling it in ever so slowly. When you start, you want both handles to be parallel to the ground. If not, they'll come in uneven and it might not be a real measurement. There's an easy fix for that. You can adjust it on the fly. So we're at 90 pounds of pressure, 100 pounds of pressure. Let's see how strong this 2.5 is. Now I'm going to look closely. It's really hard to tell at the end. The knurling sometimes interlocks, and you want to see if there's just any water, any space. If you go too slow, the machine doesn't like it. So I'm right here, and it's telling me that we're at about, so I can't see anything now. I'm getting a reading of 122. It's now coming off that high. So I'd say that this hand gripper takes 102 pounds of pressure. That's how much it takes to close this thing. So someone's hand would have to have that minimum strength. That's actually a pretty good crush. Think about it. That's like saying your hand, if you're shaking somebody's hand, right, could squeeze with 102 pounds of pressure if you can make those two handles touch. Some people can. There's definitely some people out there that can do it. I currently can do it. I train with some other people that can. There are a lot of people stronger than us, though. I actually find this really relaxing, doing this with my hand grippers. And I think it's because it's low stress. There's constant movement like this. It's repetitive. You watch the numbers go up. You watch the handles get ever so close together. But what we need to do, we're going to keep doing that because we like calibrating our hand gripper, so no problem there. But we also have these. I don't know if anybody can see this. These are Uno cards. We're going to be pulling Uno cards after every gripper. And if we get an even number means goblet squats. We're going to grab this big dumbbell over here. We're going to clean it up between our hands. We're going to do that amount of reps. Now, if we're flipping through here and we get, let's say, a 9. If we do a 9, we're going to be doing just regular push-ups with great form. And that's just to get some exercise, to get us off this couch. We had a great day. It was Christmas. We hosted. All the family was here. I think everybody had fun. But as you know, most people end up eating a little too much on Christmas. Let's do this one next. So I think it's okay if we do something slightly active just to counteract all that. So I'll slide this gripper in there to the same spot we were before. I'm going to loop this around the handle. Let's back this out. Okay, there we are. We want to get the cuff on this side, like we've now done. We're going to start pulling it in. Here we go. Now look at that. As you see from your angle, you can see the numbers. It's probably hard because it's upside down, but we're at 40, coming up on 50 pounds of pressure. And again, what we're doing, we're trying to figure out how many pounds of pressure it takes to touch these two handles together. I compete in grip competitions. I host grip competitions. So for me, one, I have a high level of curiosity just to figure out and know how strong are these hands. But two, it's going to come in useful at these contests. See, we're coming in a little skew. Easy fix. Pull until the line parallel, and then do a back pull on it. Now we're good to go. So it's going to be nice to know how strong these are so I know what the athletes are pulling. I'll show you one or two things in a second that, again, I think are really interesting. This part's tough. You got to make sure. Okay, nope. If you go too slow, the scale thinks you're done, but we're not in this case. We just need to make sure. And I'd say right there is about where we're not getting any space. And it says it was 123.9, dropping to the 123s. We had some upper 122s. So I would probably call this, I'll give this a rating of 123 pounds of pressure. That's what you have to squeeze in your hand to close this gripper, to make those handles touch. Does that make sense? So we're going to set this one aside, and I'm going to point out one detail. It's a kind of interesting detail, actually. You just got to get it out of this little contraption. So this rig I bought, when I started training my grip, I went on to Instagram and I was looking for all the people that did similar things. I wanted to learn from them. And I saw a gentleman in Italy. He makes things just like this. He actually calls this the Grippator. So I saw his page, and this is a big number. I think it surprises people when I tell people how much I paid for it. With shipping, to get it to St. Paul, Minnesota, that's where we're live from, it costs $700. But now I've got this machine. I've done so many grippers on it. Look at this number. We had it come in at 123 pounds of pressure. There's a company in town that will rate your hand grippers for you. And they have a much better device than this. They hydraulically go. They push them together, and then they round to the nearest whole number. And they've gave this a 124. It's called Cannon Powerworks. They're an absolutely great company. I know the owners. Now let's do this. We talked about Uno cards earlier on the stream. We got to pick our Uno card because you see what's in front of us? That's a big dumbbell. That dumbbell weighs 110 pounds. Remember, if we get an even number, if we were to pull this, for example, that's 6. We have to do 6 goblet squats, which, trust me, after everything we ate tonight, it's going to be a major pain in the butt. If we were to pull an odd number, we're going to do some perfect push-ups, and I'll talk about what that means. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. There's also some wild cards. Look, I didn't mean to get the wild card so early in the stream. We can try it. Wild card is a set here. I'll explain what it is so people can think on it. A wild card means viewer's choice. You tell me what you think makes sense. Is it squeezing grippers? Is it trying to do a one-handed push-up? Is it something crazy like that? Let's warm up a bit before we get to that. Having said that, let's go again. And the card will determine is, so we got a 9 on the push-ups. So we're going to drop down and we're going to do 9. When I say perfect push-ups, this is what I mean. We'll roll the dumbbell. We're not doing goblet squats now. Perfect plank position, which you'll see. Shoulder width. We're not angling out our hands. We're going just like this. We come down. That's, we say, 1. And we do a little pause at the bottom. We won't get weak. We won't dip down like this. We're going to keep it nice. So that's 2. Nice and slow. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. And 9. Great. So my favorite thing about the stream tonight is going to be the calibrating grippers. So I'm going to calibrate some more right now. I also have a lot of things to talk about and explain to people. So we'll get into some of that. I'm also here to answer questions. If people have any questions, if not, no big deal. I'll say this though. I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota. We had an absolutely awesome Christmas today. Where are other people from? I'm always super curious where people come from, how they find the stream. Again, this is a hand gripper, has a spring. It's got these handles. The idea is to squeeze it in your hand and touch them together. See that? When they touch, you know it's closed. If you touch them hard, then you know it really closed, like jingle bells, Jingle bells, jingle all the way. This is a pretty easy hand gripper. There's some on the stream, like this beast here. This is stupid strong. It doesn't even make sense. Nobody's actually closed one of this level. Compare these springs to that tiny one we just did. 2 of these coils are bigger than all 3 of those. So let's get in here, rate a couple more. Again, I find this stuff super interesting. I can't really say why. I know I think it's relaxing, and you'll see in a second because we're slowly doing this. So you kind of get the rhythmic, the scale is pulling, the numbers are slowly going up. You can see the handles begin to touch. All of that I absolutely love. So here we go. We're going to rate this gripper. Slide it in. What we try to do when we go in the red sleeve, we want the top of this band. So the grippers have bands on them. This top part here. We want that just at the bottom of the red sleeve. I start all my grippers the same way, so I'm comparing apples to apples. It honestly, if we were to slide it like this, or if you were to come way down to the spring, it wouldn't take much before it would be significantly harder or significantly easier to close it. And we want consistency. We're actually training for contests. We will use these in an upcoming grip contest. It's just part of taking care of your equipment. I'm sure all the people on here are passionate about different things. So you find your own method, your own madness. But again, the part I like so much is right here. Watch that. It's quiet. Kids are asleep. We had a great Christmas. And I can rhythmically just turn this threaded screw. In turn, it yanks, slowly mind you, slowly, this scale towards this side. And in doing so, it's pulling on this blue cuff, which will pull the handles together over time. At 80 pounds of pressure, we're at 90. What I'm looking for. One, I get excited once that parallel, because I usually have an idea if a gripper is strong or not by the time it gets to parallel. But then, when you get down here, and I should say we're at 105, you really have to look closely. There's knurling on these handles. And when that knurling touches, it means it's closed. So I'm just looking for any daylight at all. And I would say right about here, this gave me a reading of 121.2. If it's 0.4 or lower, I round down. If it's 0.5 or higher, because I'm not interested in decimal places, if it's 0.5 and higher, and again, at this point it's 0.2, obviously not, then I would round up. So, let me show you something in a second. Do people know what I mean when I say it's relaxing? Like, I don't know. It could just be me, but I find it relaxing. And if you hit this button, it's the same thing. You watch the numbers go lower, and then you know the gripper can be removed. You can pull the cuff off. It's just 20, 10, we'll go 5, we're almost there. So the grippers that we're calibrating tonight were already calibrated by a professional company in town, and they came up with their super scientific information and process, I should say, 124 pounds of pressure. So when they put it in their hydraulic press to touch these together, by the time these eventually touched, it was either slightly under or it was at 124. And that's where we get the number. I put my numbers. So I measure all mine myself, obviously. 1, because it's fun. 2, because I have the equipment. But as long as I'm consistent within my own, it's a great measure. The reason why these numbers are important is because they calibrate them kind of for the industry. So if you're going to a contest and you're bringing your own grippers and they have those ratings, we can kind of use them to see where everybody stacks up. And the grippers we're doing tonight, we've already done this one. We'll do this one next. If people know a lot about calibrating hand grippers, these are the Iron Mind. It's the 2.5. They start at the guide, trainer 0.51, and they go all the way up to the 4. And there's only been a handful of humans to ever close one like this. Not this, like the number 4. So let's slide it in. I'm going to go right to that knurling part. Great. We're going to hook it like this, right on the edge. Fantastic. And always check, make sure your handles are parallel. If they're not, when you reel it in, the way these springs kink, it might kink up or down. Your best chance for a good reading is nice and level, just like this. Well, thanks everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. Hopefully everybody, if you celebrate, had a good Christmas. Or maybe if somebody's telling a Christmas story you've heard before, you're just checking out the feed, you're on YouTube, you can see this scale is now at 50, 55 pounds of pressure. Coming up on 65. Super curious, where's everybody from? Where are people watching this from? I'm St. Paul, Minnesota. It's a lovely winter here. Do we have anybody else in America? We usually get a couple people from Europe somehow. So I guess the feed's there as well, but yeah, it's the internet. So so right here, if you can see, the handles are parallel, and it's already at 100. So this one, I can tell, is going to end up being stronger than the last one. So let's really dig in. They're getting close. Last one stopped here. We still have more space. Going. They're almost touching. Oh, it's too far. Almost. Just, I'd say right about here. So it clipped 130.2, then it was 129s. After they touch, they tend to come apart quickly. So this one would probably be 129, maybe 129 and a half. But we don't speak in halves. So really, that being the case, I would be comfortable calling this 130. And it's nice too, because if you look on the scale, you can kind of unwind it and you can see the numbers go down. Nice. We're going to flip an Uno card now. The Uno cards are going to decide the workout for us tonight. If it's an odd number, we're doing push-ups. And we're doing the number of push-ups on the actual card. If it's an even number, and yeah, there are definitely even numbers in here, we're doing goblet squats. Maybe people know what those are. When we get an even number, I'll demonstrate what they are, so you'll for sure see it then. So here we go. Let's take the cards. We got them right here. Where they stop, nobody knows. Take it. And what are we doing right now? We're doing 8. 8's an even number. Even number means goblet squat. We're going to roll that big dumbbell out. That dumbbell has a 2.5-inch handle, weighs 110 pounds. We have to do 8 reps. Whatever the number is, that's what we do. Colors in today's workout don't make a difference. In some workouts, they do. So here's my dumbbell rolled out. I'll kick this up so you guys can see it because I do actually want to go over some form things. You wouldn't have to have a special dumbbell like this to do goblet squats. You could still drill your legs with regular dumbbells. So you're going to see me clean it up. I'm going to take the heel of my hand and I'm going to put it right up against the handle so that it looks like a goblet. And this is the position I'll maintain while squatting it. We have to do 8 with this, which after everything weight, it will be a bit of a task. I'm going to try not to hit the microphone that I'm wearing. Ready? 1, 2, 3. These are hard. 4. If we were in the gym, nice and warmed up, it wasn't 9, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. It's 2 more. 1, 2. Bring it down. I got to find a new way to lower that dumbbell. That dumbbell's heavy and I don't like it bouncing off the floor. I can tell you that. And I'm sure the wife doesn't appreciate that. You know what we should do? Yeah, let's do this. So, turn the scale back on. Let's calibrate 1 or 2 more. Then maybe we'll superset some of those Uno cards. Kind of feels like a good idea. Again, we didn't make it to the gym today, so we got to get after it using any means necessary. Do people train their grip here? We usually find a couple people that do. So let me zero the scale out. Click. Nice. We've done these. Let's do this one. So here's the knurling right there. We want that spot, the bottom, the red sleeve. We don't want to see any knurling. The other side with the cuff goes right around the other side. There we go, we're zeroed out. So let's see where this one comes in. We'll reel it, reel it, reel it. And I'm serious when I say this. I find this part super nice, super relaxing. It's just nice and rhythmic, doesn't take much thought. And sometimes you're watching YouTube content where things are, like the numbers are going up, like people are doing reps. Sometimes there's timers, but anything where there's something you can kind of focus on and see small like movements, that always gets me every time. So now we're at 60. What does that mean? We're looking for the pounds of pressure it takes to touch these handles together. Now we're at 70. 75. And it literally means, like whatever this number comes out, that's how hard you would have to squeeze your hands with this in it in order to know, hey, I shut this. The handles were coming in a little askew, depending on the spring. Sometimes they're uneven. So what you saw me do there was just slide it so that when I pull it closer, the handles will actually touch. We just crossed 105. This one's actually looking pretty good. You have to look really close. You don't want to see any light coming through between the handles, which can be a bit tough sometimes. So I would actually say about, I don't know, probably right around, that's too hard, probably right around here. Let's see if it falls off. Okay. God, this one is so touch and go. Right there. Now, that was the first time I couldn't see anything coming through. I saw it in the low 21s. It jumped through the 120s. Finally rested in the 119. So I would probably call this, I'd feel comfortable calling this gripper 102. I'm sorry, 120. And then I want to show you something about this that, again, I find super interesting, but I find a lot of things interesting. And maybe you will too. Let's find out. We'll also, after this, we'll have to flip an Uno card. We need to get some work in. We need to get the cardio. We need to get the legs, chest, some blood flowing. So, you see this already has a tag on it. We get up to the camera. It says 122. There's a professional company you can send your grippers to. They've got a more sophisticated device, and they'll squeeze it down, and the moment these touch, they use the reading on the machine, and this one gave them 122. We came in around 121, so about right. Oh, the other thing they do, I don't know if you can see it. I mean, you could. There's a little oil between the springs. That's to prevent corrosion and to keep the friction down between them. That's just part of maintaining your equipment, right? Yeah, let's do this one now. All the grippers we're doing are Captains of Crush. They're made by Iron Mind. And we're doing the 2.5s. That simply means the strength of the gripper. We want to know more specifically, so we're using this to find out the true strength. They have a guide, a trainer, a 0.5, a 1, boom, 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 up to 4. There are only a couple humans who have ever closed a 4. I'll demonstrate one thing about them, how you get certified. And you'll see that it's true command that these, yeah, I guess they're humans, these animals have, where they're able to shut these. So we zero out, we bring it to life. When the scale is green, it's live. You can pull on it. It can still be on. Hang on a sec. Hey, how's it going, pal? Sakawea? Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes people throw down likes and sometimes they don't. I think it's cool people are here. You know, we're on Christmas. Where are you from, man? We're St. Paul, Minnesota. We're getting after it. We love doing stuff like this. We're calibrating our grippers, and after each gripper, we're taking an Uno card, and depending on what that number is, that tells us, hey, how many goblet squats? Hey, how many push-ups are we doing? In a moment, we'll flip 2 cards. Because we have to get after it, I ate more. I ate more than I thought I would. 100. So we're past 100 pounds of pressure. Let's see where we come in. But yeah, man, it's cool if you like this. Hang around a while. We do something like this every night, 9 o'clock Central Minnesota time. That's where we're from. So follow the channel. You'll never miss the fun oddities. And I would say these are finally touching now. 119, mid 118s. I'd call this 119 then. And it's really fun doing this because it is. It's super relaxing for me. Usually when you're using the grippers, like you're all chalked up, there's chalk on your hands, you're sweating, the heart rate's going, you really want to close it, so you're like, ugh, ugh. This is the opposite. This is decompressing everything, getting the equipment where it needs to be. We might need to. I don't know that we'll need to. But I saw a couple springs in here that looked like they needed more oil. So if that's ever the case, I throw them on here. I would do this, reel it until these handles are parallel. Because once they're parallel, I can show it with this one. Once they're parallel, the spring opens up. And that would give you the opportunity to put oil in. And with a nylon brush, you kind of knot it, knead it, push it through. And that'll just keep everything working better. These grippers, honestly, these things will last you for life. You would never need to buy more unless you like owning a lot. But it's all about taking care of it, which I suppose is everything in life. All right, here we go. We're going to hit the Uno cards, which I actually love. So let's find out what we're doing. Remember, if it's odd, it's push-ups, perfect push-ups. I'll go over that. If it's even, okay, we do goblet squats with that 110 beast of a dumbbell because it's got a 2.5-inch handle. If for some reason it's a wild card, we do 2 things, let's see. And this isn't, so 9. 9 perfect push-ups. Let me explain though. So there's a card in here. Oh, it's on the bottom this time. There's a wild card. If this shows up, I say to the chat, what do you guys want to do? And you let me know in the comments. It could be push-ups. It could be one-arm push-ups. It could be squats. It could be jump jacks, whatever you want. And while you're thinking or typing, I just choose a different card and I get after it. We're not using that wild card right now. And why is that? Because we just saw we have to do 9 push-ups. So here we go, 9 push-ups. We can do one other thing just to keep it interesting. I suppose we can. We can superset. So we're going to hit 9 push-ups. We're going to go into 6 goblet squats. Does that make sense? It's fun. It's really fun letting the Uno cards decide your fate. I really like it. So first, 9 push-ups. Perfect. And here's what I mean. I want them shoulder width. I want a flat back. Sometimes you see people going like curved. Some people, they sag. None of that. And they're going to be nice and rhythmic with a pause at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hey, good for us. We can do 9 push-ups, right? Now you're going to see a goblet squat. I'm going to bend down. I'm going to clean this up to my chest. I'm going to dig my heels of my hands underneath that bell. And you're going to see me hold the position and go down and up 6 times. These are called goblet squats. They're great for the quads. And I really mean that. There's no way to cheat it. Let's just not crash the mic. That would not be great. So 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no, 6. I don't know if you can hear that sound. Do you hear that metal hitting the carpet? Yeah, that's not an awesome sound if you're the missus. I'll try to be a little bit more careful, but after doing the reps, I'm just really tired. Now let's calibrate one of these. What are we doing? We have these. These are hand grippers. They go in your hand and you squeeze them. They're to strengthen your hands. You want to make sure the handles touch. That wouldn't be a close. That would be. So we're using this machine. We're going to we slide it in that. We put this cuff on the handle. We use the threaded screw like this. And that will draw the scale down. And drawing the scale down, A little winded, sorry. Eventually tells us how strong they are. We do it until those handles touch. So right there. It's important to zero your scale. You want the handles even, and they are. The handles should be parallel to the ground. Yeah, here we go. I just can't get enough of this. I've got 150 grippers. Well, actually, I think it's 148 now. I sold some. And I do this at night because it's really fun. It's really relaxing. Yes, you heard it. I actually think this is relaxing. So look, the scale, if you can see it, is slowly going up. 45, 50, 55, and my point is 60. As that happens, it's probably hard to see. Maybe it's not. The scale is sliding down. These cables, the tension on them builds, and it's pulling these handles together for me. Because it's attached to the scale, it's doing a great job of figuring out, okay, what kind of fight does this, I wish you could see it from this angle. The spring's opening up, so when there's pressure on the spring and you're closing it, I can show you with this, I think, while we're doing this. So watch this. Do you see how those coils come apart? That's what's happening when we squeeze these. The spring is trying to put up a fight. It's just never going to win. Now right now the handles are almost touching. It's really hard to see with the way the knurling is, but I would say almost. What do we got? Right about there. 116.3, 115.4. The pressure, once they touch, the pressure seems to dip down. I don't know if the spring is kicking hard against it, but that being the case, we saw a peak of 116 when it looked like it was just touching. So for me, I would call this a 116, which literally means be careful if you shake someone's hand who can close this, because they can, look at how wide this is. That's a little wider, don't you think, than a human palm? At least it looks like it to me. So they could grab your palm and they could squeeze like a big handshake. And if they can touch those handles, I tell you what, they're doing it with a minimum of 116 pounds of pressure. That's pretty impressive. Now I'm going to do my grip training with these hand grippers, some easier, this Sunday. So we're going to go live and actually show how to use these things. I get questions about how to use them sometimes, so that's what we'll do. Does that make sense? Oh, well, let me point this out. Right here, this tag says 116. So there's a professional company here in Minnesota that rates grippers. They have a fancier machine than this. This is a cool machine. The guy that made it called it the Grippator. Nothing wrong with this, I guess. He's out in Italy. I found him. He made this with shipping. I got this whole thing. Well, the thing that kind of stunk is, maybe you can see it on the stream. I hope you can. I'll try to turn it sideways. I kind of had to manipulate these with some tools, tighten them up. I'm not the world's most handy, but the point being, it got here in one place, some assembly required for about $700. Now, some of you have been to Italy. Some of you might be living in Italy, and you go there to buy sports cars, fashion, clothes, wine. I guess I import these cool grippers, these grip rating machines from there. So let's hit this one. Now, this one is interesting. These handles, I'll show this on camera. Let me walk over to your side because I think you'll think this is interesting. So here are two hand grippers, both by the same company. These are by Iron Mind, and you can see, yeah, at that angle, 2.5, right? Let's check this one. This one says, please show the people. Well, it's there. It's just a little harder to see, 2.5. Look what happens, though. Please note the difference. We've lined up the bottom, and look. Do you see that the one on the right is significantly wider? And honestly, I'd say that's pretty significant. So two things. For the average person, it's harder because this gripper is so much wider. It's hard for someone with a hand, if it's not as big, to get it in there. And It's just further apart, so you're going to have to squeeze harder for a longer time, which actually makes the squeeze a lot more difficult. So the one we're going to do right now is this lovely number. We're going to do our 117. That last one I showed on camera was 135. So same company, and it's an awesome company. It's a fantastic company, actually. But again, as these things cost 20, 25 bucks, you know, it's not like they're going on the spaceship. Some of the quality control might be a little off. Most of us in the grip community like that they're not all the same, because you can buy 5 of them. They might be slightly different. That's a training tool. Hey, if I can't quite close X, Y, and Z, can I borrow yours? Do I have one in my collection? So once I get this to 20 pounds of pressure, I'll show you something. 15, 20. So like I said, this one I just showed is 135, professionally rated. Well, this one's 130. Let me show you that tag. Hope you can see it. The 130 is going to be easier. So that's a great way, since these aren't barbells, you can't adjust the weight. It's a great way to slowly make it harder and let your grip adapt so that eventually you can close this. One of these 2.5s in my collection I absolutely love. It's 116 pounds of pressure. And one of them, and I'll re-rate it now, but the professionals say it comes in at 135. Well, that's almost a 20-pound difference. Picture holding two 10-pound plates, 20, and then picturing the difference in the grippers, you having to squeeze them in your fist. Tough, right? So when it gets past parallel, which it is, and when it gets a 1/4 inch away, I really start going I go a little more slowly, and I try to watch. The knurling makes it tough to tell when it's officially closed, but I would say right about, now if I go too slow, it pauses on me. I'd say right about now, probably. Come on. Yeah, it's touching now, and I'm getting 114.9, 114.7. When it beeps, that means that it's finally done all the adjusting, and it's got that pinned the way it likes it. Smart machine, right? 114.6. Well, on this show, on this channel, we always round up. If it's 0.5 or higher, we round up. If it's below, well, then we round down. So this one would not be called 114. It's going to get rounded up to 115 for us. The professional company said it was about 117 pounds of pressure. So honestly, considering I'm using something that came from overseas from a guy I've not met, although I'm sure he's great, I'm pretty impressed that it's that accurate. I'm going to grab the Uno cards in 1 second to figure out what our workout is. After every gripper or two, we hit some workouts. But I do have a question. We've got about 100 people in the chat. Let me know this. Where are you guys from, man? I'd love to know. Maybe try the metric system. You want me to? I've got the metric system on here. Let me knock out my exercises. We'll come back and do metric. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Thanks, Frog Physics. Frog Physics, with that name, probably knows way more about this than I do. So I'm glad he's here. So what did we say? We're going to pick a couple random cards. If it's an even card, we do goblet squats. That's 110 pounds, a 2.5 inch handle. It's not a good time. If it's odd, this is odd, then we do perfect push-ups. I'll show you what I mean by perfect push-ups. So we're going to have to do 7 perfect push-ups. Scatter, scatter, scatter. What do we have here? 5. Oh, we need an odd one. We need something for the goblet squats. Well, that'll work. That's a 6. That's odd. 6 goblet squats. Remember, in this deck, if you guys are familiar with Uno, there's not one, there's 2 wild cards. Just like we did on last night's stream. When we pull a wild card, the chat decides what we do. You choose. Jumping jacks, great. One-handed push-up, awesome. Something I've not heard of, I'm fine with that. So let's knock these out. I see the comments are coming in. I'll respond in 1 second. When I say perfect push-up, this is what I mean. Get on your knees. Allow your body. Hey, why don't I bump this up so you can actually see? Because the way I do push-ups, I think, is a lot different than how most people do them. Again, I'm not saying it's better, but I know it's a lot different. I start on my knees, and I'm going to fall forward, which you'll see. Wherever my hands land, that's where I'm going to push from. So I landed right like this. I'm not going to angle out my hands, just like this. And we have to do 7 perfect push-ups, which to me means super flat back, Slow up, down with a pause. 1, 2. The other thing I do, I know it won't happen, but focus on your hands. Try to slide them on this carpet as if you want to touch your thumbs. Because when you do that, go down and up, you get a lot of that good crossover effect. When you see people in between stacks of weights with a pulley in each hand, and they're going back and forth and doing cable crossovers, they're trying to bring out that definition. Now, I'm not nearly lean enough to get good styrations. I have little ones, but that's what they're trying to do. They're going like this in an attempt to pull out and force definition. My brother, the bodybuilder, he's joining us Sunday. He always shows us a couple things. I mean, that's why he does them. So when I do it like this, not just focusing on the pushing, but the crushing in, I guess try it, see what you think. You will get a little bit more benefit. Here's our dumbbell. We're going to clean it up. We're going to do 6 reps. We're going to get right back to rating grippers. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Notice that the palms of my hand, right, the heels, are supporting the weight. I'm going to try not to bounce it off the microphone. 2, 3, 4. I'm actually feeling my triceps a little too. Nice. 6. On that slippery paint, trying to slowly let it go down, that negative curl position, it's actually pretty hard. Believe it or not, it's actually pretty hard. I can't wait to calibrate more grippers. I've got 1 or 2 special ones. I want to see what you guys think. Frog-sized cards. Yeah. You're actually right about that. They are frog-sized cards. And you want to see some metric, so we'll put the scale in kilos. Knowing that you're asking from that frog physics, where are you from? We'll do this one. We haven't re-rated this one in a very long time. So I am super curious what this is going to come in at. So let's see, kilos. Slide this in. Yep, we want this. So grippers have bands on them for consistency. So I'm always measuring the same thing. I slide it in the sleeve. I don't want any of the top knurlies showing. I get right to that point, and that's how I know it's a good set. Open this up, wrap it around. Hey, I see your question about a gripper giveaway. I am giving some grippers away. I'll tell you about that in a second. Hishimoshiko, are you from out east? Are you local here? Where are you from? Thanks for saying hi. Thanks for stopping in. Tell me you know something about hand grippers. When I start, now that I have my breath back, I'll demonstrate something. I just need to get to about 20 pounds of pressure first. 5 and a 10. Coming up on, say it with me, 15. Almost to 20. What you want, 20. So these handles, you want each of them parallel to the ground. You don't want them, cockeyed like this, because when you reel them in, 30 pounds of pressure, they won't line up like this. They'll come in high, they'll come in low. And if they're too off, you'll see them violently snap because they've been pulled up out of position or pulled down out of it. And it's pretty gross. You can hurt the knurling, you hurt the device. Hey, hi, where are you from, brother? Hisham, I appreciate it. Lenny B2B, great to have you guys here. I'll tell you what, if you like stuff like this, if you like brand new dads, we just had a young baby boy, he's a blessing. If you like stuff like that, 9 o'clock Minnesota time, sub the channel. We do stuff like this all the time. Not sure how people feel about it, but I think gripper calibrating is super fun. Now, I'm vaguely familiar with kilos, so let's see, we're almost there. This one, they're almost touching, they're touching. It's giving me, hang on, right there. So it's giving me a 58.5. Yep, it's coming down. So we'll call it 58. So, kilo people, what would 58 be in pounds? Let's see. Well, you have to 58, 50, 50, 50, 100, 116. Would you be right around 100 and be right around 130, right? 129 pounds? If you're at a little over 58 kilos, I think. Well, that's what I think. Shelby Fox Winkler, that's a fantastic question. And the best way I can think to describe it to you is with a mini song. Watch this. Let me warm up for it. We're doing this. You see this piece of equipment? It's a hand gripper. We're making them sing. We're going, jingle bells, jingle all the way. That is to say, hand grippers, they're strength training, they're tools for your hand, right? We're using this awesome machine that I got from Italy from $700, and it took a month and a half to arrive. We're sliding it in and we're calibrating them. We're using this machine, we're cranking it down to touch these two handles. When those handles touch, it tells me how strong that gripper is. Therefore, if I can close it, like I can close this one pretty easy, boom. Actually, you know what? Why don't I rate this one? This one has no tag. It's never been rated. Then we'll literally live together figure out the minimum strength of my hand, I suppose. But for Nonya, another gripper getaway, we're announcing it Sunday. Sunday is gripper training. So tune in for Sunday's live. We're giving away 3 grippers that day. Just so you know, I appreciate it. I think it's pretty cool that people are here watching this. So again, I've never rated this one. Let's see the minimum strength I have. Again, I think I have more than that because I can do it 3 fingers. Maybe I can do it 2 fingers. Is that closed? I can't tell from my angle. Did anybody catch that? Did that look closed? So we wake up the scale. When it's green like this, that means it's actually recording. Sorry about that. It's actually ready to pull. Nobody answered the kilo question. Maybe I was just way off. Oh, I see a guy on here who says privet. Privet to you as well, friend. Thanks from Russia. I better put it in pounds because if our kilo guy's not going to respond, I'm less than used. Hey, and there's also a setting for JIN. Is that called gin? I have no idea what unit JIN would be. Yeah, Shelby Fox, I think it's interesting. We're up to 9 pounds of pressure. Now, I already know that this hand gripper, just the fact, it's way easier than these other ones I'm doing out here. So I'm not expecting 116, this one, the 135. I'm guessing somewhere between 40 and 50. Is that what it is? Is that joules? If I wasn't on here, I could Google it. Thanks for responding to that. Appreciate it. All right, so we're at 43, 45, and they're touching now. So we ran into one problem. As soon as it touches, you have to stop. If you keep pulling on this, once the handles are together, they're not moving, yet this is trying to move, and the numbers jump up ridiculously. So again, 40, I'd say 44 and a half. But we found one major problem. I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota, man. I hosted Christmas for my family today. We all came. We had a great meal together. I'm very happy. I'm very lucky. Where are you? Where's anybody from for that matter? Where are other people from? Let me show you a problem I just noticed with this gripper. And that's the other thing that's great about calibrating your grippers on a machine like this. So when I asked, did I close it? It's because I really didn't know. Because it's out in front of me, it's shaking, I can't tell. I'm going to shut it now, and you're going to notice what we call a mismount. It's not the end of the world, but it's not good. It's kind of a low quality thing. So look. Those handles, when closed, should be even. Does that look even to you? Wouldn't you say the one on the left is notably higher? Now again, am I still getting a fantastic workout out of my, can you see that? It says Bone Crusher 100. Maybe this angle. Maybe there is no good angle. There you go. It's a Bone Crusher 100. So I'm still working on the grip. I'm still getting the benefit. But, you know, a collector like myself or some other people probably say, why is that uneven? What happened to your gripper? Well, nothing. That's what we call life, Jack. That's the way it goes. Let's hit another round. So remember, Uno cards, they're deciding our fate when we're not calibrating. There's a variety of them in here. If we get, and there's 2 of them, if we get a wild card, I ask the chat, the comments tell me what we do. Maybe it's jumping jacks, mountain climbers, abs. Maybe it's just more push-ups. But we're going to pull 2 cards. We need 1 even, 1 odd. The evens are the goblet squats. So the 6. So we're going to have to do 6 goblet squats. Great. Then we need an odd. Let's get an odd one going in here. A 7. Well, that's perfect. So 7 push-ups. Then we're going to do 6 goblet squats. Makes sense? But we're going to do perfect push-ups. The way I do my push-ups, I think is probably different than how a lot of people do them. Again, I'm not saying it's better. I just think it's different. So let's move our friend the dumbbell. We'll bring it back in a second. Perfect push-ups to me means a couple things. You're not super, super wide, but you're going down nice and slow. You're pausing at the bottom and you're coming up. Also, when you're doing the push-up, please focus on pushing, yes, but trying, even though you can't, on trying to get your hands to meet in the middle. You're going to get that great crossover in the pec. That will have benefits in your chest. Your chest routine will be sharper and better. So I start on my knees, I fall forward, and wherever they land, that's where I do my push-ups from. I get in a plank. We have to do 7, right? That's what the card said. 1. A little slower down, up. A little explosive up. 2. Up. 3. 4. 5. Down, 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 pause. 6. Down, 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 up. 7. And we were fortunate enough to draw an even card. Even cards are goblet squats. If you don't know what a goblet squat is, watch. Take it from the ground. We're going to rip it up to the chest. We're going to put a hand under each part of the bell. And we're just going to do some squats like this. The card says 6. Let's give them 6. Ready? I'll say this. If anybody else is trying to stay in shape over this holiday break, why don't you hop in here and do some workouts with us? 1, 2, 3, up. See the heels of my palm are underneath the belt. 1, 2, up, 3, up, 4, up, 5, down, 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 up, 6. Bring it to the ground. Listen to this. So that's actually a solid dumbbell. That's 110 pounds at the Foundry. I mean, like obviously it's not the heaviest one, but I mean, it's not the lightest one. It's kind of hard to hold in place as well. Hey, Heesh, I'm just curious where you're from. I'm St. Paul, Minnesota. We're calibrating grippers, which we love to do. And we're doing a couple other things. Now, let me show you something else. We haven't looked at it in a second. This is an absurd gripper. The spring on this, here, we'll do this. Let me pop around and show you. I think it's worth getting up and showing you this. This is the gripper we've been doing some casual closes with all night. We rated it. It's around 45 pounds of pressure. See the spring? Amateur. Put it on a child's toy, I suppose. This is not amateur. This gripper, it's called the World Class. It's Thor, WC World Class. This has never been closed in humankind. There's one person who maybe could do it, who competes, who a lot of us hope will try it one day. This belongs in some kind of automobile. See the difference? You see how 2 of these coils, 2 of those coils are still slightly bigger than all of these coils. This thing is nuts. I can't close it. I could try to chest close it. I don't know. Hey, Pub Gritch, hi, how's it going? Hey, where are you from? We've been hearing where people are from tonight. We're testing our Iron Mind 2 gripper, 2.5 grippers. This one supposedly is the hardest one I have. That being the case, let's see how hard it really is. Oh, you'll notice, well, I'll show you real quick. I need to clean my grippers. So I'm cleaning my grippers this Saturday because I'm going to use them Sunday. See all the chalk that gets embedded? Use a nylon brush. Sweep like this, they'll get real clean. And Alaska? No kidding. If you end up following us, you'll be my first person from Alaska. That's pretty cool. Alaska's massive, way bigger than any state down here. I'm St. Paul, Minnesota. Never been to Alaska. Dying to go because I'm huge when it comes to hiking. But if I'm being honest, and I do a lot of hiking here, but hiking in Minnesota, I mean, I've not been to Alaska. I'm assuming it's nothing like Alaska. A little afraid of certain wildlife. And you guys have bears up there. I can't imagine bumping into those. I used to do strongman contests. We went to a small town in Canada. It wasn't even that far north. We came across a moose. It's the biggest thing I ever saw. It was peaceful. It was eating some tall grass. It was still the scariest thing I saw. So I will ask you, Jawel, have you ever seen a bear or a moose? Guys, he's from Alaska. Maybe she. I'm guessing this person has seen a moose. 30 pounds of pressure. Now, where I get excited when I'm calibrating my grippers, and I can say this because I do get excited, is once it gets to parallel. When these handles look parallel, I'll look at the number at that point. So right now we're at 65. We're coming up on 75. That's when I get excited. I get very excited because we're almost there. So I'll tell you why once we're almost there. One small adjustment. It's coming in uneven. Some of the springs, the legs on them are a little off center. So when you reel them in, they tend to come in uneven. So I just make a manual adjustment so that they'll end up touching parallel. And that's what you just saw there, 100. So it's at about parallel. And if you're at 100 on a 2.5 Ironman Captain to crush, 2.5, by the time you're finally touching handles, you're going to be at the minimum upper 120s, but most likely lower 130s. And these are very hard grippers to find because these don't usually come in such a range. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped. I love collecting these things. So we're touching now. We're tracking down to 135 and change, 134. Mid 134s. So yes, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. My guy is back. Now he's from India. When you say where he's from, he always says India. So that's very cool. Hey, thanks for being here, pal. But what I was saying is, I have a massive collection of grippers. I have just under 150. And this one's actually pretty rare because it has such a strange strength level because it's a 2.5 and the fact it comes in at 135. We just use this, right? We saw it was mid 134s. We round up here. So 135, and I'll show it again in 1 second. We'll have the 135 set aside. We'll rate one of mine that's actually one of the easiest ones I have as far as 2.5s go. This 116. And it's incredible that the same number can be so different. I like that. Some people would maybe say, well, that's frustrating. Shouldn't they be the same? Heck no. We want variety. That way, when you have different strength levels in your training, you can say, hey, I can get the easier version. It comes at 116 pounds of pressure. And what does that mean? That literally means the human hand has to squeeze, on this gripper, probably 116 pounds because that's what it's rated. We're double checking and confirming that. So then if you say, well, 116 and then I have a 121 over here, that's still a 5-pound gap. That's a big thing for your hand to try to overcome, right? So if you can spread them out 3 or 4 pound gaps, it's just a very useful training tool. We talked about what it's like at parallel. This guy's at parallel now. He's at 84, 85. That last gripper was at 100. And really, that's how I know. Yesterday, you hit your squats? Well done, man. And that's how we know that this gripper is going to end up on the easier side. Come on, baby. Where are you at? And you're touching now. I over squeezed. Yeah, I saw 115 and 114. There's a small gap between the handles. There's no gap now. Let's see where it stops. Still falling out of the 118s. It's in the 117s, low 117s. So I'd probably call this, now it's in the 116s. This is probably a 116. So my fun setup that I ordered from Italy arrived, and it's telling me exactly how strong my grippers are. What I mean is when I got into grip, and I started using my grippers again, I went online, Instagram. And there's a guy in Italy that made this device. He calls it the Gripator. After talking with him, telling him, hey, I'm from Minnesota, this is exactly what I need, he told me for the low price plus shipping of $700, he could make me this. Hey, Pedro. ¿Y tú? ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo va tu día? ¿Cómo estuve tu Navidad? So I thought that was just a great deal. And look what happens. You know, we showed this about 20 minutes ago, but I know it's a stream. People hop in and out. Check this out. So this one comes at 135 pounds of pressure. That's what it takes to touch these two handles together. This one came in 116. I like that they're both the same color. A variety of colors, and they're both the same. They're both the same manufacturer. One of my favorite companies. That's a COC 2.5. And guess what this one is? This one is a COC 2.5. Here's the crazy part. And when I say crazy, I actually mean that. Line them up. So let's make sure those handles are even, right? Yeah, that looks about right to me. Boom. For shock value, look again. Okay, handles are lined up at the bottom. Pull them into frame. Boom. These handles are so much further apart. These are so much closer. That does two things. One, you're going to be pulling with pressure for a longer time against the spring, giving the spring a bigger chance to kick off your hands. Second, the practicality of humans, not machine squeezing this, is, look at that. Well, that's not much fun for my pinky. At least on this one, here, we'll get in there. At least on this one, my pinky can kind of get there. Now, most people, they put it right. There's your callus line. They put the gripper there and they squeeze it just enough to get the other pinkies on, then they go for it. That's what most people do. But my point is just saying this one's so much harder, and it's crazy because of the same gripper. They're essentially the same gripper. So check it out. We've not done this one yet. I check my grippers. What are you doing? Juan, that's a great question. I am measuring, I'll show you with this. These are hand grippers. I'm curious how strong my hands are. So I have this machine here, and it will eventually, I'll show you how it works, eventually touch these handles together. When it touches it together, it's going to tell me how many pounds of pressure it took. Oy jay. It's going to tell me how many pounds of pressure it took to close it. Therefore, my hand is capable of squeezing X pounds of pressure. For example, we'll do this one. This is a pretty simple one. You just saw me squeeze the living daylights out of it. Ha, ha, ha. Let's see how strong it is. It works. This is the way the Gripator functions. You slide one handle. This handle's not going to move. It goes into the red sleeve. It's not designed to move. The one that's going to move is the opposing one. So I put this cuff on the edge, right where the knurling starts. And then here, well, we should always zero it out. Now you can see, right? When it's green, it's measuring. It's capable of measuring. Gray is kind of sleep mode. So we're going to go like this. Hey, Pedro, hi. Suscribiste si tu quieres. And we wind it in. Now this scale, this threaded rod, when I go this way, is slowly approaching that wall in the background. Because of that, it's slowly pulling on this scale, which is attached to the cables, which is attached to this cuff. And the more you do here, this is just going to pull them closer and closer together. Does that make sense? Eventually, what we're going to find is it has pulled so hard, it is actually touching these handles together. And when these handles touch, that's how we know the final strength. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm guessing that makes sense. Now, if you listen closely, listen. That's the machine. That's telling me that I need to oil some of these revolving nuts. Oh, if you slow down, it gets cranky, and it will try to give you a final reading before it's done. So yeah, this one is touching now. Yeah, 43, 44. But that noise you're hearing, see if it does it again. A second ago, yep, listen. So what that is, you have to oil and grease these. There are moving parts. There's this threaded rod. That one's okay. There's a moving bolt right here. Well, would that be considered a bolt? Maybe it's a nut. That's swiveling. That needs some. And then you have a moving piece over here as well. And sometimes, if they're not oiled properly, you just hear them kind of like, they're like kind of angry, kind of cranky with you. So I'll do that before the next stream. Because on Sunday, now that we've rated all these, we're going to warm up, we're going to chalk up, and we're going to see how hard, which one of these we can actually close. I'm excited to see. I've been working my grip super hard. I'm expecting a big payoff. I'm expecting my grip to be much better than it's ever been. But Saturday, we're going to oil this machine. We're going to take these hand grippers, because if you look at some of them, this is an example. You see how white that is inside there? That's a lot of chalk. So we take a nylon toothbrush, we dampen it, and we remove all of it. And if you can believe it, it bubbles, it oozes, and it falls right out of the knurling. And that's what we're going to do. We're just getting these ready to train with. I'll tell you a quick story. So I'm into grip training, obviously. I've been talking about grippers for an hour. I think they're super fun. I'm contesting an event here in Minnesota next year, June 13th and 14th. In conjunction with GSI, Grip Sport International. It's the North American Championships. It only happens every 2 years, and every 4 years it's here in the U.S. Next year, Minnesota. I've rented out the Mall of America, and one of the events that you're going to see at the Mall of America are grippers. People are going to take a gripper, they're going to have a small piece of metal, and they're going to pinch this. I'm going to pinch these together, and eventually the handles will touch against the metal. On the bottom of the metal is suspended about 10 pounds. And you're going to have to hold your arm outright, just like this, holding the gripper, not letting it fall. And whoever can hold that the longest will end up being the winner of that event. Yeah, you're welcome. I like talking about this stuff all the time. I appreciate you, Juan, taking the time to be here. Actually, all of you, it's Christmas. We had a great Christmas today. It was day 3 of Christmas. I made the Christmas ham. It turned out decent. It didn't blow my mind. It's not like when my uncle does it, but his health is down a bit, so we had it at my house. This came in at 120 pounds. I hope you guys can see the scale. Is the scale? Yeah, I think you can see it. I think the family was polite and said, hey, it's good. I eat a lot of ham, and I think I kind of messed it up. Oh well. The wife's lasagna was fantastic, so she maybe saved the night. What I was getting at, though, if you guys are in or around Minnesota, June 13th, 14th, oh man, I have a couple buddies that have arthritis. They're on medication. I'll say something. You know, you always have to check with your doctor first. They know best. Friday night, I did this a couple nights ago too. I do an active recovery. People say, well, if you work your grip this hard, if you're using this heavy-duty metal equipment all the time, aren't you going to develop arthritis or things like that in your hand? And actually, when you find the doctors that train a lot or lift a lot of weights, frequently, not necessarily heavily, they say that by consistently using certain muscle groups, calves, forearms, hands, those muscle groups respond really well to training. So what you want to do, and I have another tool, you can't see it, it's out of frame, but I'll bring it over in a second. And again, I'm not saying this applies to you, I'm just, talking, I guess, for talking's sake. But they say that it actually helps by going like this and regularly using your grip. Not necessarily with anything this hard, but just using it like in the gym, you're keeping the tendons, ligaments, and the muscles healthy. When you're going like this a lot, when people say, oh, there's blood flow in there, I feel a pump. The pump is blood flow. Blood carries in all the fun nutrients, oxygen, all those things. You're keeping those tissues healthy. The problem that a lot of people run into, and even I do sometimes, like I've got a bout of elbow pain right in here now. I'll show you one of the things I do. That's because most of the time when we think of forearms, we're squeezing and we're going like this, right? We want to have big muscular forearms, or we want to finally have a better grip than our dad or some other. Hang on, his handles are about to touch. If you slow down, the scale will stop. So it's touching now, and it's giving us 120.8, 120.3, 120. So I would call this strength in pounds. I'm going to call this one 120, a little more than 120. But what I was saying is, since most of what we do in our lives are squeezing hands or going like this, a lot of us will develop nice forearms, good hand strength. The problem is muscles work in pairs. I think people know that. So think bicep, tricep. You know, if you're doing a lot of squats, you need to do a lot of hamstring work too so that they're good together. So I'll show you in 1 second some movements you can do. I won't take much of your time on that, but it's important. By hitting extensors, you're hitting the muscles on the back of the hand and through here. So a lot of people will say, and I do mean this. So I compete in grip contests, strongman contests, but I promote a lot of them as well. Like a fair amount of them, and I talk to them. Hey, Pedro. So look at this. This is something you can do. It's very effective. There's 2 things. The first thing I do, and this may not seem like it's effective. You see what this is? This is a glove. This glove has wheels on it. So what I will literally do, and I'm going to sit down now so I can show it to you. What I want you to see is these are independent. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take a second. I'm going to show you what I do to the inside of the forearms, and then I'll explain what you can do for the top. So I bring my sleeves down so the hairs don't get angry with me. I put this on my hand, and I wear it low so I get great control over this. If you're feeling a lot of that tightness, just massage it out. The problem people have, and what people often don't do, that they should do, is they hit their workouts hard, and that's great. That's the first step, right? That's step 1, a great workout. But in doing workouts, I think we know that we're actually breaking the muscles down a little bit, and then they rebuild. But if you're either stagnant, not doing active recovery, a lot of the times the muscles that are usually just laying on top of each other, connected like this, they get a little off. They start to bind. They get knots. They get adhesions. And then the muscle can't open and close, so it starts tugging another thing. Tendons, joints, ligaments, which cause pain, companion pain to what the real source is. So what I do before big forearm workouts and sometimes after, part of what I do is I just put on my massage glove. I get in real close to the elbow. I work the top of it like I'm doing here. I'm not pushing overly hard. If I find a bad spot, I sit on it. I apply pressure with the ball, I just sit on it. And I may rock it around. I may not. I especially do that on the inside because this is where a lot of my work comes from. And this is where a lot of the potential adhesions could be. So that's just one thing you can do. What I think is a much bigger, oh God, that actually feels really good. Can you hear it? What I actually think is more useful than that are contrast baths. I do this sometimes on the stream. I have 2 5-gallon pails from Menards. One has very, very cold water, and then I put a lot of ice on it. The other one has very, 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 very warm water, not hot. And then I'll start out, I always start in the hot. 10 seconds, pump as many times as you can. That's going to force a lot, and I mean a lot of blood right into your arms. Immediately pick up, boom. I splash them in the cold, and it is freezing cold. And I boom, 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 boom. As soon as you go here, you don't even feel the warm water until that nice blood starts rushing in. You're forcing good blood, bad blood, nutrients, junk out of there. It is amazing. And the best part is, for someone who has an arthritis or has pain, since you're not actively doing anything, right? You're not stressing the muscles to get the blood flow. You're passively doing it with different temperature change in the water. You're not stressing those muscles. It's work being done to you. Think of it like as an internal massage. I didn't say it was fun because the water's freezing and the other water is super warm. So don't confuse yourself. Don't think it was fun. But these are the kind of things we talk about here. We go live every night, 8:30 to 9 Central Time in Minnesota. If you like these kind of home gym hacks, sub the channel. We always talk about something. 20 pounds of pressure. But yeah, if some people have arthritis, that's probably really tough. I've not dealt with that. I just have some chronic, I wouldn't even say chronic. I have some here and there elbow pain. Today we're rating our Iron Mind grippers, and we're overdue to hit the Uno cards. These Iron Mind grippers are a grip tool we use. We squeeze them to try to build up forearm and hand strength. And what we're testing is, how strong are they? How much pressure does it take for these 2 handles to touch? When a handle touches, like what you see here, That's a good close. Someone had the strength to shut. You can call it a close. You can call it a shut, to shut that gripper. And then at contest, we try to see who has the best grip. Sometimes it's who can close the heaviest one. Sometimes it's who can hold one the longest. Now let's watch this. We're almost done with this number. So the handles are touching right about now. 127.6, 126.8. So I would say that this gripper takes 127 pounds of pressure to close. I feel very good about that number. That means if someone can close it, and I happen to be able to, I can squeeze with at least 127 pounds of pressure. That's good, but don't get me wrong. There's guys, I would not want to shake their hand. They can do way more. They would put me in a bad place. So we back this out. I was saying, so let me just do something quick with the same gripper. Here's what I like about it. This is useful. I love playing with my grippers. I love testing them, but I'm not going to talk for a second after I explain. Just notice the numbers go up. Move the handle. Watch this threaded rod. Isn't it relaxing? I find that incredibly relaxing. That's like on the nights I do my gripper cleaning. I use water, a nylon brush, and I just go in one direction to pull all the chalk out. If you haven't been here for one of those, it's pretty fun. So we're going to go to the Uno cards. And let me explain what we've been doing all night. We hosted Christmas. It's day 3. Today was our day to host. We were happy to do it, even if the ham didn't necessarily turn out the way we wanted. But we're having a little fun. Sometimes training alone can be boring. You want to mix it up. So I invoke the power of the Uno card. There's a variety of cards in here. Some of them are wild cards. If we get a wild card, I ask you guys, the viewer, what do you want to see me do? Jumping jacks, one-arm push-ups, good luck with that. Different things like that. Press the dumbbell. Otherwise, if we get an even number like this, we're going to do goblet squats. In this case, 8. If we get an odd number, hey, that's an odd number, 9. That means that we're going to do 9 perfect push-ups, and I'll tell you what I consider a perfect push-up. So, here we go, mix them up. We need 1 odd, 1 even, and an 8. Well, that's great. We'll do 8, this is goblet squats. We'll do 8 goblet squats. Now let's keep going until we get an even card. Let's figure out the push-up situation. That's not a push-up. This is a wild card. I'm going to set this to the side. People in the stream, if you want to, and you can be silent. You don't ever have to like, you don't ever have to subscribe if you don't want, but if you want to, what would you like to see me do? We've got a wild card. We've got to figure out the workout. So think on that. We need 1 more, 5. So we're going to do 5 perfect push-ups. So that's what we got. 5 perfect push-ups. We're going to go into 8 goblet squats immediately after. And then the next time we do an exercise, I'll check the comments. And if somebody did put something pretty interesting, I'll hit that. That's the wild card. When I say perfect push-up, this is what I mean. Move this beautiful dumbbell for a second. It means we start on our knees. Hey, you know what I should do? I should invite you guys to watch what the heck's going on over here. This is what I mean by perfect push-up. I start on my knees, and I fall forward. And wherever my hands land, that's my body telling me, hey, we thought you were in trouble. This is where you're going to get the most protection. So right here. And then I go off my knees, and I'm going to do these 5 push-ups like this. Slow down. Pause. 1. Slow down. Pause. 2. 3 more. Slow down. Pause. Boom. Slow down. Pause. Boom. Slow down. Pause. Boom. Now here's something I'm going to tell you. If you want to improve your push-ups, but moreover, if you want to rip out and lean out your chest, make it look more muscular than maybe it is, do this during push-ups. Anytime you're doing them, think about trying, while you're pushing up, like you're trying to slide them across the surface so they touch. It's never going to happen. They're not going to slide. But by doing that, look, boom. It's hard to see. You're telling your chest to crunch this way as well. So not only are you doing it kind of that bench action, you're getting the cable crossover. If you do that for a couple months, I am absolutely promising you, you're going to see some changes in the upper chest. That's not a maybe. That's what happens. So now we come back over here. If you remember, we drew a card. We have to do 8 goblet squats. A goblet squat is this. Take a look. You take your big dumbbell. You get it up here to your chest. Heels of your hands are holding it. 1, 2. Focus on going straight down and straight up without breaking your mic. 3, 4, yes. Up. 5, yes. Come on. 6, yes. 7, yes. And up. 8, yes. Nice. Now, you hear that? We don't actually love that. We don't love the banging on that on the floor. Gang, I got to figure out what to do about that. That's not good. Let me show you these, because I think these are interesting. I'll take a green. Here, I'll do Christmas colors. Green. Red. I'll explain these in 1 second, okay? For now, they're just waiting on the couch. All right, well, hi and hello to you. Thanks for being here. Actually, thanks all you people for being here. Hey, Pedro Silva. Maybe from Brazil? It's just a guess. Here's a gripper I'm waiting to see. So we're rating our grippers, Captains of Crush, and all of these tonight, all of these are 2.5s. But because the handles might be higher on the spring, lower on the spring might be, these legs might actually be further apart from the manufacturer. No 2 grippers are built the same. No 2 grippers are going to feel the same in the hand. And no 2 grippers are going to be the same strength. So we're using this machine, the Grippator. His name, the gentleman from Italy, not mine. And we're figuring out how dang strong these are. So click here. We're zeroed out. Nice. Let's reel this in. Let's see the strength. Then we'll talk about these Christmas color grippers I have. I hope everybody had a very solid holiday season. If it's Christmas, awesome. If it's something else, awesome. If you have family and if you like hanging out with them, I hope that went well. Christmases as a kid didn't always go great. But ever since, they've been pretty awesome. If you're just showing up here, we're rating our grippers. Then we're using Uno cards to dictate how many push-ups, how many goblet squats we do. And I should say this, actually. You remember, gang, we pulled a wild card. I didn't pay you off on this wild card. I didn't pay this off. If people have a specific exercise they want to see me do, let's get a couple options in the chat. We'll pick one. I have every intention of filling that. Just wild card on this channel means the commenters, the viewers can pick. We had some interesting ones the other day. I'll say that. So now I'm going to look. So, okay, right now, let me announce this. 105 pounds of pressure, 110 pounds of pressure. When these handles touch, and I can see no light through them, that's considered closed. We're getting close, 115. And I'd say they're touching right about now. Are they? Nope, not quite. Now they're touching. Upper 115s, around here. If we get something that's not a full pound, and how likely is it you're going to land on a full pound, right? I'd say pretty unlikely. So in this case, it was 115.7. We call that 116. That's how strong this hand gripper is. You got to be able to squeeze 116 pounds of pressure in order to do that. It's actually pretty impressive. Not a lot of people can do that. Ironmind, that company, has a certification process, which I'll demonstrate in 1 second. If you want to go onto their website and see, who's certified, I'm going to show you what it takes to make that list. I'm on the list for the number 3, but if I'm being honest, and I always prefer being honest, I certified before the newer rule, and I would not be able to do it under the current rules. So back then, I did what they wanted. I know I wouldn't be able to do that now. Now look at these. I like these grippers so much right here, I'll stand up and talk about them. These grippers are different. The ones we see down there, and These are awesome grippers. The Iron Mind basically invented it. Basically, they're in charge of grippers in the world. They sell so many. These were made by a buddy of mine here in Minnesota as well, and I love these. Notice the differences. One, these are green. For some reason, I don't know why. I don't. Squeezing something that's a different color just pumps me up. It gets more excited. It gets me more excited. He also did this. He said, hey, I get this question a lot because he has a great grip. These lines, each one is for a different finger. So one, if there's only one, you know that's where the thumb goes. And you always want to place your gripper right there, right below the calluses. And then these lines in those spaces would go each finger. So you'd go, oh, wow, look, I got my fingers right where they should be. I actually slide mine lower to get more leverage, which is legal. Then you touch the handle. That's how you know it's closed. And he has these wonderful red ones. So this was the GHP Level 2. This is a special edition with this paint, the paint on them. Well, they're not painted. They're, what's the name? Special name and Metalworks when you change the color. That guy on the stream last night would have known for sure, was it? Well, I don't know. I could snap all day. I'm not going to remember it. Anodized, is that it? When you add color to something, part of the process is it anodizing? And then he's got these red ones. These were special edition too. These are also the GHP, but look at this. This one is the GHP 5. So where this one was a number 2, that one's number 5. Where this one takes 60 pound of pressure, which is still something. This one takes 111, almost double. So just a different kind of gripper. I talked about Iron Mind, a fantastic company, and how you certified, how you get qualified to be on their list to close a gripper. I'm going to demonstrate that right now. So look at this. This is their credit card. It's not a real credit card. It's just one that when you buy their grippers, it comes with it. And here's what they say. They say, okay, we understand people have different hand sizes. That shouldn't limit anybody from making our list because, again, a gentleman with me with average hands, you know, this kind of fits in there not so well. A guy with big hands, his fingers would probably start like this. And a guy with little hands, and I have a couple buddies like this, none of their fingers are going to get over it. So what they say is, okay, you can set the gripper. You can use the other hand to hold it in place and make sure that you're getting your fingers around it. You can put it as low as you want, wherever you want, but before you touch those handles, at some point, you have to swipe a credit card through. So this wouldn't count. That wouldn't count. A flat card going at the very edge. So I'm still not there. Oh, you see that? It goes through. So Iron Mind says that's the distance it has to be before you close it. Now, this isn't even one of their grippers. Blasphemy to demonstrate with it. But that would have been a good close. I'll show it on the other hand. So you see, if you didn't move the handles at all to set it in your hand, look at that. That's a lot of room to overcome. If you go like this, you can bring it so all the fingers fit because not everybody has large hands where it easily fits. Oh, that's no good. That doesn't count. We need to let that gripper go wider. Wider, wider, wider. Now we're comfortably doing it. Shut it. This is a super easy gripper. This is the equivalent of their trainer or a little easier. And trust me, that, and again, I mean this. They're awesome, that company. But that company doesn't care if somebody can close an extremely basic beginner. They want to see who can close the hard ones. So, for men, they wouldn't care if you can close any of these. These are only 2.5s. Still a great gripper to close. It really is. And using that credit card, the way I just showed you, I can't even close any of these. I can close 2s. For men, they keep track of the 3, the 3.5, and the number 4. And with a credit card, only one person has ever closed the number 4. Let's rate a couple grippers real quick. I'm looking at the comments, the chat. Nobody has to comment. Not required, not at all. You don't have to like it. Just hang out. But if you remember, we pulled a wild card. With wild card, so the Uno cards, we got a deck of Uno cards. We pull them. These determine what we do. We're rating grippers, we're doing goblet squats and perfect push-ups. So for example, if we pull this, that's a 9. I owe you guys 9 perfect push-ups. But if we were to get this one, it's an even number, it's 4. 4 goblet squats, no big deal. A wild card, which I pulled a moment ago, this is for you guys to decide what needs to be done. So if you want to see something with this, and you don't have to, that's fine, but if you want to, type the exercise you'd like to see done. We'll get a couple of them, we'll just choose one. And again, if you don't want to, it's not a problem. But in a second, we'll probably draw those. Let me do this one. We've got people from a fair amount of places. Not everybody's mentioned where they're from, but we had a chunk of people. I'm St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm the guy who hosted a Christmas today. Didn't exactly cook the ham. Didn't turn out as well as he would have liked. It was my first ham ever. I'm not going to be too upset about it. Water under the bridge. But I think the family members were being polite when they said, oh, this is fantastic. Finally, my brother, I said, really? He's like, it's average. This is an average ham, which means I either purchased a ham of average quality, flavor, texture, all of those things, or most likely, I didn't really know what I was doing cooking it. I tried my hardest. Not always good enough. So we're reeling this in. Measure a couple more grippers. Do this one. There's one over there I'm super curious about. So when we do this, we're trying to figure out how much pressure it is to touch the handles together. That's what we care about. That's why we're here. This threaded screw, we grind on that, pulls the scale down. Scale's attached to the cables. Pretty strong cables. We have rated grippers on here before they get to the 260s. And this cuff is what pulls on the handle. If you slow down, this gets cranky and it pauses. So this cuff pulls down, and when those handles touch, or are almost touching, I check to see what the exact pressure is. We're at 100 pounds now. 105. 110. Yeah, it's a strong gripper. 115. Now it's getting close, so now I have to pay attention. We're at mid 122, 121s. This is somewhere in the 121s, so I would call this 121. I'll show you something about this in 1 second. Hey, thanks for the likes, gang. I appreciate it. I'm having fun. Hope you are too. Nice chill day. And here's the bonus thought. Tomorrow's Friday. I'm self-employed, so yeah, I make my own schedule, but I feel like a lot of the world, a lot of the USA for sure, probably aren't going to be too focused on work. So I have to get some things done, but it'll just be like an hour and a half, and then I can just chill out with the family and relax. Basically my favorite thing to do. Well, my favorite thing to do would be go hiking with my family, but our newborn son probably isn't a huge hiker. We're in Minnesota, so most of the family's not a huge fan of going out and hiking in this. Look. So a professional who has a company here in Minnesota, he rated this. He says it takes 121 pounds of pressure to touch the handles together. He sticks it in a machine that slowly squeezes them, more high-tech than this, mind you, and when those touch, he assigns a number, 121. We saw I got the same number, and oftentimes I do, but not all the time. But I bought this because I rate my own collection, because I'm curious, hey, this 2.5 versus this 2.5. Well, this one's 124. So if I eventually get pretty good at that, maybe I have a shot at I have a special one here, 127. This is a pretty rare rating. The professional company said, yeah, we don't get a lot of those. But it's about winning every workout. So you have small jumps you can make, gripper to gripper to gripper, so that you're always finding a way to improve. Does that make sense? If you had one that rated 110 pounds of pressure and your next one was 150, I don't know how you'd cross that bridge. That would be really hard to get from one to the other. And that's why a lot of people like me collect, because one, it's fun, it's addicting, but we really want to improve our grip. And this is an easy way to do it by having a collection, with varied strengths. This is the kind of thing we do on the channel. We go live every day from Minnesota, 8:30, but usually closer to 9 Central. If you like these kind of things, if you like some of the workouts hacks, I'd say subscribe and follow. There's always something to talk about, and we get some good comments. I appreciate those from Europe who wanted to see things done in kilograms, a unit I'm almost illiterate in. This one is at 50 pounds. Let's see what it is when it's at parallel. 60. 5, 70, 75. So we're at parallel now, about 80. On a 2.5, only being to 80 at parallel is a very... So this one's not going to climb much higher than 115, 116, 117. I can almost guarantee it'll be in that range. So they're about to touch. Not quite touch. You can see 117, they drop down. Well, now they're not touching again, so let's touch them. Okay, 117, still touching, 116. I'd probably call this a 116 hand gripper. Do people see how I do that? I'm just curious, any questions about how we do this, why we do it, what the purpose is? Seems like every 10 or 15 minutes we have some people with a couple questions. So, just putting it out there. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them. So we're going to do a pass on the wild card. We drew a wild card, but nobody in the chat, and that's fine, has responded about what they'd want to see. In previous chats, we heard everything from pistol squats to hold the plank as long as you can to, hey, do push-ups here, but throw your feet up here. But I think everybody's too full from their big Christmas dinners. We're in passive watching mode, and honestly, that's not so bad sometimes. Let's get this over here. So what we do on the channel, we started about a week ago, I don't know, maybe a week and a half ago. We grab our friends the Uno cards in order to mix it up. So 3 nights ago, we did biceps, triceps. Every time we had a flat, an even card, that meant triceps. So we grabbed dumbbells, put them overhead, we grabbed barbells. Every time we had an odd number, that meant curls. And we did partial curls. We started with the weight just above our knees in a seated position. We'd bring it up and squeeze it. We'd hold it there, and we'd put it back down. It was a good time. But for me, it's just a way to break up the training. It can be monotonous. That's why I have the live stream. It helps keep things moving, helps keep things fresh in the head. But the Uno cards are just a fun way to figure out what we should be doing next. Now let's take on this one. There you go, Pedro. Good to see you, brother. Hope to catch you on the future ones. You know what else? Got a couple more of these to do. And I'm going to go make a big fruit smoothie. I've been huge into the fruit smoothies lately. Hey, thanks. Appreciate the likes. So I'll make myself a fruit smoothie. I'm going to shower. While the fruit smoothie is cooling down. Oh, it's cooling down. Heating up because I throw so much ice in there because I like them thick. I'll shower. Then I'm going to come downstairs. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to watch Stranger Things. Because we all know that came out today because Netflix won't let us forget it. They're shoving it down our throats. God bless Netflix. Now, I know this gripper, having squeezed it a lot. I know this one to be relatively difficult. I know that for a fact. So when it gets to parallel, I'm going to shout out the number. You remember parallel, the last one was 80. We're at 80 now and we're not that close. 85 pounds of pressure. 90 pounds of pressure, almost. I'd say we're parallel. Yeah, we're parallel now. We're at 98. That's a huge number for an Ironmind 2.5. Trust me. Just have faith. That's a big number. This is going to finish upper 120s, low 130s. The professionals rated it at 130. I rate these from time to time just to see if they've lost any. They're almost touching, and they're touching, well, overcranked. Say they're touching about now. So let's see what this says. 132. 131 and change. Still getting some movement. Movement slowing down. So yeah, this is probably in the 130s, right? Does that make sense? Do people see how we do that? We're probably in the 130s. A great place to be. That's actually a really hard rating to get on these. So what's today? Thursday, Friday, we stream from the gym. That's tomorrow. Saturday, we clean grippers. So Monday's push-up night. Next Tuesday, we're going to be doing the calibrating again, but we're going to be doing the Ironmind number 3s. And if people know much about hand grippers, that's the Cadillac. We demonstrated a second ago how to become certified on the number 3. And I have more number 3s because They're such a unique gripper, and they come with such class, clout, and cachet, 3 C words, okay. You really want to get good enough to shut them because you get a lot of notoriety. Notoriety in the grip world, which I live in because I love being in there. You know, if you go somewhere in public and tell people you can close a number 3 and you're a captain of crush, I don't know that people are just going to be running up to you and say, squeeze, shake my hand, but please don't do it too hard. I don't think that'll be the case at all, as a matter of fact. All right. And this one. So we saw the last one came in high 130s. This one should be the hardest 2.5 that I have. Should be. We'll see. Now, what I like to say too, watch this. So it's therapeutic. When I clean my grippers with a nylon brush and chalk, almost puts me to sleep. It's such a wonderful noise. So I'm not going to talk for a minute. And just look at the handle slowly moving, these numbers slowly getting bigger, this dual threaded rod on the back side. See how relaxing it is. I don't say anything for like 20 seconds. Except now we're coming up on parallel. The other one was like 85 at parallel, 86. So I'd say we're at parallel about now. We're at 89. Okay, that's giving us a very similar reading to the last one. These handles are super wide. You actually have to squeeze this one 1/4 inch farther to make the handles touch. And let's see, these handles are almost touching now. I had to double check. So the manufacturer's already tested these, and I just realized I grabbed the one I didn't want to grab. This one is coming in low 117s, upper 116. So yeah, like they said, 116. What I want to do, I'm going to grab right now my very specific, my super hard. This is a very coveted gripper in the grip community. This 2.5 is rated at 135. There are number 3s that are rated that and lower. Now those are unicorns. To find a number 3 that's rated that light is almost impossible. I happen to have some, but still, almost impossible. And I haven't tested it in a while. I want to see where that one comes in. I think we can agree we all want to see where that one comes in. Unwind, 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 unwind. So let's give that one a squeeze. Let's give it a honk. So what are we talking about? The Iron Mind 2.5 and how strong it is. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it set in. And in a couple moments, I'm not going to talk because, again, I find this very relaxing. For me, this is therapeutic. So we're going to hook it up. I said we're going to hook it up. Such a wide hand gripper. It's parallel. Okay, now watch. I got to get to about 20 pounds of pressure, and then I can get my hand out of the frame. There, we're awake now. And I want you to focus on a couple things. The reason why I think it's relaxing is a couple things. One, maybe it's these handles ever so carefully getting closer and closer. Maybe it's the numbers slowly going up, counting sheep. Or maybe for me, it's this backhand. It's just winding like, I don't know, something you wind. But this threaded rod, no matter where you look, because it's threaded, you're always looking at a thread that never moves, but the actual thread does. So just watch. Yeah, this is a good one. So the handles aren't quite touching. They are touching. I'm trying to get the moment where they first touch, which is a little hard. I'd say right about here's where they first touch. We're at 136, falling through the 135s, upper 134. So yeah, that company's super accurate, gang. I don't just say that. They said that this gripper is 135 pounds of pressure to touch those handles. You saw what we just saw. That's the same thing. I was almost the same as them. I'm not as good as they are, I know that. This is a hobby for me. They do it professionally. But I really like to test the strength of my grippers to see where they're at. So let me try something a little different right now. It's a lot different, but bear with me, I still want to try it. Okay, back this up, back this up. It's going to have an interesting sound to it. I'm going to get behind this, get behind the phone, and I'm going to demonstrate something. We did this a moment ago, but take a look. So again, hand grippers. What we're doing now is we're calibrating hand grippers using this fine piece of equipment we got from Italy. We paid maybe too much for it. We paid $700 with shipping. Now, nobody said in the comments that's too much, but you silent people on here, I know what you're thinking, and it's the same thing all my family and friends said when I told them that. But I want to know how strong my grippers are. So this is a hand gripper. If you ever want to certify on a hand gripper, you're going to need a gripper, and ideally, oh, you love that noise. Anyways, I love the noise. I think it's great. So again, for me, cranking on that was very relaxing. So I clean my grippers once a week. I'm cleaning them Saturday night, 9 o'clock Central Time, Minnesota. And what we do is we'll take a gripper like this one and look at it. There's chalk embedded all over through here. So if you like restoring and cleaning projects, sub the channel, because I guarantee you've not seen something as powerful as this. We use nylon and steel brushes, we dampen them, and we use it to pick out all the chalk, all the dirty spots. And it sounds, well, it sounds way better than this. This is like to me, kind of a crackle, right? Maybe, maybe not. The brushes, it's like this harder swish with a prick at the end of it. So here's how we certify. We all have different hand sizes. So companies say, all right, like look at Jeff. He puts the gripper where I'm told to put it high in your palm so your thumb can wrap. But Jeff's fingers, I'm Jeff, Jeff's fingers don't reach. Ugh. So they say, all right, use your fun credit card. Your awesome credit card, which is what we have here. This is provided. It's the Captains of Crush. They send it with a gripper when you buy them. They said, you can do this. Anybody, use your other hand. You can get it as deep as you want. Make sure your fingers are on it. But then, you have to pass the credit card through. And not like that. You have to pass it through level. So still wouldn't count, still wouldn't count. Still not, you see where, do you hear that noise? Finally getting some bite, we can get through there. They'd say, all right, you've demonstrated, the handles are at least this far apart. Now go for it, close it, and you go, wham. So that would count as a closed gripper. Now what I was saying before, do you see all the chalk on here? When we do our gripper cleaning, we get a nylon brush, we get it wet, and we go like this. Now trust me, it's not impressive because there's no good noise. This noise, trust me, this noise is not as good. What you do see, I've got a little water next to me. When you see the chalk start to pull off, and you can make those nice, so that's a dirty line. What I like on my grippers is a clean line when we restore them. See that? Chalk, clean, chalk, clean. We go through, and we use our wire and nylon brush. The noise that it creates, that is awesome. So this is a noise, no doubt. Like that's an awesome noise, I love it. It is not satisfying. Satisfying is when you use your nylon brushes and you get into there and it goes. That's what people want to hear. Trust me when I say that. So Saturday night, we'll have all our chalky grippers. We're going to clean them all up. The green one is my favorite. Now, I've already cleaned this one. The other green one is substantially dirtier, but even with some of the leftover residue, it pulls right out and it's just wonderful. So I'll say this, Saturday 9 o'clock Central Time. If you like this noise, here we'll show the number. This is a strength 60 gripper. This is cool, I guess. Saturday, when I clean these with the nylon and the steel wire, the noise, it just sings. So I'd say this, sub the channel, hang out with us on Saturday, watch what I mean about restoring grippers, re-oiling, making them look factory fresh, cleaning up all these wonderful handles. That's the kind of thing we do. We do things like this every night. Yeah, follow. We'd love to catch you in the next one you won't miss, but mostly, thanks for being here. I hope everybody had a great Christmas or whatever holiday you follow, and we'll see everybody real soon. Thanks for joining us tonight. Bye.